and I say it openly and unashamedly now, what we're trying to achieve is a big thing to do in 1 year.
To be having a chat this morning with Alec Lochore, who needs no introduction in the eventing world. Alec has been international course designer for several years, as well as being the organizer of many international horse trials, and has also been a top level event rider himself. Alec, thank you so much for having a chat today, because I know you're terribly busy with Scone Palace coming up very shortly. How excited are you about Scone's first international horse trials?
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think that it was very sad that we lost Blair Castle, and it was fantastic that we were given the opportunity, firstly by British Eventing, but also the fact that somebody wanted to step in and host a big international event. And Scone have the estate have done that very enthusiastically.
How fantastic. And it must mean a lot to you personally as well as professionally to be sort of keeping Scotland's international eventing firmly on the map.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, I feel it was really important that we retained an international fixture in Scotland and a high level one as well.
Yeah, it must be fantastic having all the facilities and
I
brilliant.
hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we've got the benefit of, lots of ground equipment and lots of mowers and all sort.
Yeah.
I get a lot of kit envy every time I go up there. These huge bits of machinery or these lovely
Yeah, I
bits of
want
machinery
that.
that I want. I want that.
Can you tell us what similarities that there are sort of being carried over, I suppose, from Blair?
I
Things.
suppose there are some similarities. I mean, I'll stress at the beginning, though, that Scone Palace is not going to be Blair Mark II. Scone Palace is very much going to have its own identity, I hope, and will form its own identity. There'll be a few personnel people that will be common because
Of
the
course.
absolutely critical volunteer base that's there, that's required for the sport. Scotland's not a big country in population wise, so the enthusiastic eventers are all out. Actually, the similarities in the ground are stark in the sense that Blair was an old riverbed,
Yeah.
and the flat bit along the bottom underneath the palace is sometimes still is a riverbed in the winter.
Yeah.
The River Tay breaks its banks and comes up
Mm.
onto that bit. So we've got the nice flat bit at the bottom with nice silty soil, and then some nice hills and undulations up and around the back of the palace. So it's not a flat, boring track down the bottom.
No.
It's quite a small site, but we're packing quite a lot in, and yeah, there's lots to be excited about as a course designer.
So Scone is running from the 21st to the 24th of August. What other main attractions that anyone attending can sort of look forward to during the weekend?
Well, we've been very fortunate. We've managed to retain the loyalty of a lot of trade stands and got quite a few new ones besides, in actual fact. So we've got a very full trade stand. I think we've got 150 plus trade stands, and it's a really lovely compact site. You can see a lot from one place. We've been fortunate. We've got Racing Scotland have got a couple of big screens, and we borrowed one off
Oh,
Musselburgh. So
brilliant.
we've got a couple of big screens dotted around. The members' tent overlooks the main arena with the palace in the backdrop. So yeah, there's a pretty full program. We've got 4 arenas going. So we've got Pony Club Games and the Ridden Highlands and the Clydesdales, and a lot of those really important sort of national classes that we used to run at Blair
Yeah.
have transitioned with us. So there's quite a lot of activity going on.
And Alec, what's your philosophy when it comes to designing cross-country courses? How do you sort of balance sort of safety with the challenge and the flow?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think that the first thing is that at whatever level it is, the course has got to be appropriate at that level. And that's the first thing that I spend a lot of time thinking about and hoping that I get right. The second thing is that, particularly as you transition through 2, 3 to 4, certainly at 2 and 3 star, a lot more, it's got to be about education. So
Yeah.
I try to think all the time, what is the horse going to learn from jumping around that course? And then I sort of try to get on, metaphorically, I try to get on one and ride around and think, is that comfortable? Sometimes I have to choose my horses quite carefully because
Yeah.
some of the old donkeys that we used to ride. But and so I want to make sure that if a horse jumps well, clear, and with a good time around that course, and it's
Mm,
got one of its 2 or 3 required minimum eligible requirement
yeah.
ticked, I want to make sure that my course has prepared that horse as best as I can appropriately
For
for that
the-
big jump.
and obviously, as someone who's not only designs courses to the highest level, but you've competed internationally yourself, getting best under 25. I'm sure you're
Long time ago.
well, it doesn't matter. Still, you still did it all the same.
I did. I did.
Um, but your experience as a competitor must be a serious help in designing cross-country courses.
I think, and I've been very fortunate because I've been a technical delegate as well at the highest level and Olympic Games and World Championships, as
Yeah.
well as designing. And I think that definitely having been an athlete, a rider, at that level, you do understand. Sometimes you have to be careful that you don't over sympathize or empathize
Yes.
with what's going on. You have to be honest to the sport and to yourself, because some riders are more vocal than others when they come and say that they don't like something, and quite often
Yeah.
it's just because of the particular set of ears that they're peering through at the time. But definitely, I think that it helps. As I said a minute ago, I mean, I think as corny, as cliched as it sounds, I literally do get on and try to feel what it's like.
Yes.
And sometimes, and sometimes, not infrequently, I just don't feel. And we moved something last week. I walked the course actually up there with Mark Phillips last week,
Mhm.
and we moved a couple. You know,
Yeah.
you've put it out, you set it out, you've designed it, you've walked the ground, but actually when the jump is there,
Yeah. It then.
you just feel you need to do something. And I mean, one of them we totally changed, which
Yeah.
is right, which is why,
Yeah.
you know,
That's why.
having a second set of eyes is a great thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And with your experience managing events like obviously London in 2012 and Blair, what are the biggest logistical hurdles in running international horse trials like that?
I think that interestingly, in a big event like London, actually there are some ways less plates to spin, but there's just a lot more pressure
Yeah.
and different sorts of pressures. Because at London we didn't have lorry parking, we didn't have trade stands, we didn't have
So you didn't worry about that.
tractors to pull people out of the car park and all of those sorts of things. And actually, you know, I've laughed about this to myself and with others. There was only 65 competitors. Actually, in
Yeah.
London, it was 75. But I mean, in Tokyo, I only had, how difficult can it be to run one event with
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
course
Yeah.
with 65 people? Yeah. Whereas at Scone Palace, we've been blessed with really significant entries, and we've got 4 classes, and we've got 7 courses and
Yeah.
4 arenas and a big members tent, and you know,
Got a lot.
580 stables on site. So there's just a lot more. So I think the challenges are all logistical, really. I mean, it's just making sure that the plates keep spinning and the balls keep being caught. And
Mm,
I've said, and I say it openly and unashamedly now, you know, what we're trying to achieve in Scone in the first year is a big it's a big thing to do in 1 year, in the first
yeah.
year, particularly with a team that has got quite a lot of inexperienced event people in it. So we will make mistakes. It's just
Yeah.
how we deal with that, and I hope that people will bear with us. And we're not doing anything deliberately.
No, of course they will.
Um,
Of course they will.
um, but equally, I look forward to it. You know, it's the challenge
Yeah,
that's part of the fun.
absolutely. And you are well done with being appointed course designer for the LA Olympics in 2028. How are you going to approach the challenge of sort of designing for a new audience and the venue? How's the venue?
Well, again, talk about enthusiasm. I mean, the venue, the Santa Anita Park team, are enormously enthusiastic. I've been over there twice now, and they really, really want this to work. So you start with that feeling, and it's everything is their attitude is sort of everything is possible. I mean, we are going to be galloping around the hallowed turf on the turf race course of where the Breeders' Cups happened, where
So,
where Seabiscuits won races and
yeah,
Dancing Braves won the Breeders' Cup, and we're going to use the race course. So they're not saying, oh well, we must do this, but we can't go on the hallowed turf. No. We're starting, finishing, and galloping on a lot of the turf.
that's amazing. Gosh.
So
Looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of eventing?
the evolution is never a bad thing, and we a lot of us, us older people, we sort of get a bit anxious about change. I'm not particularly anxious about change. I think there's a lot of very positive things. I think affordability is something that we've really got to address. I mean, it is an expensive sport, but I
Yeah.
think that we have a good track record in moving with the times, particularly with safety initiatives and things like that. I don't want to see every single fence on a cross-country course as a frangible device, and because I do think that the mindset of the riders is very slightly different. But I embrace the fact that we have the technology now available to us to try and make things safer. I hope that we retain length in our endurance in our sport. I hope that we don't soften from the top. I mean, I think that you start to change the type of horse.
Yeah.
At Cornbury this year, as you know, where I'm also very involved, is we've got this amazing new initiative with the thoroughbred course, racehorse.
Everyone's desperately been looking for
For a
horses.
racehorse. There's a third most valuable prize in the world, I think, just about,
Amazing.
and it's for an open novice for a racehorse. So I mean, it's great initiative because I mean you come from a very strong racing heritage, and I was involved in racing, and I loved thoroughbreds. Where most of the horses that I rode at the upper level were all thoroughbreds, and
Yeah.
so I still believe that the thoroughbred has a strong place in our sport because because I believe that they are the gallopers, the true gallopers, and the true endurance people, horses in our sport. So I hope that we manage to retain that.
Thank you, Alec. Just finally, what are your hopes for the future of Scone? And what do you want sort of riders, spectators, and the international eventing community to sort of take away from this new, exciting Scottish fixture?
Well, firstly, fun,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we all do this really for fun. And whether you're watching the world's best, we've got all three of our wonderful gold medalists from Paris and
Yeah.
Tokyo coming. So, if you're coming to watch, embrace that. If you're coming to ride with as an owner, or being there as an owner, I want you to have fun. I want the horses. The other thing that I used to get great pleasure out from Blair, and it superseded me, but the horses that did really well at Blair, that won Blair or finished in the top 3 or 4 in the 4-star at Blair, we had an incredible record of how they progressed through the sport.
Yes.
I want those horses to come and be educated. But I want people, ultimately, it's the business of it's show business, isn't it? I want people to come and have fun, enjoy themselves, and enjoy Scottish hospitality.
Yeah. Well, it's all very exciting. And if people cannot get to not Blair, Scone, where can they watch it? Is it on
They can
My
watch it on Clip My Horse. Yeah.
Horse?
So
Okay.
and they're doing Clip My Horse. They're doing covering all disciplines, all days. So from dressage on day 1 to the last horse show jumping on day 4,
Okay, fantastic.
which is very exciting. And we've got a really good, I think 7 cameras on the cross country course, 7 or 8 cameras on the cross country course. So it's well covered.
Yeah.
So sign in to Clip My Horse, and
Okay.
if you can't get there, watch it there.
Yeah. Brilliant, Alec. Well, very, very good luck. I hope it goes really well. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.